Good afternoon, everyone, and to those attending virtually, welcome to the Township of Whitewater Region Council meeting for Wednesday, October 15th at 4:45. I will call this meeting to order and confirm that we do have quorum. Could I please ask you to stand, face the flag for the singing of our Canadian anthem? Thank you. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is our land acknowledgement, and could I please ask Councillor Moore to read for us today? Thank you.
As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Township of Whitewater Region and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of Indigenous people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. And if I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the October 15, 2025 agenda. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Moore and Councillor Tabbert. And then we're going to amend the agenda to move required direction item number 11A to the to be heard after 8.2. Thank you.
8.2 is the public comment section. So we'll hear we're asking to amend the agenda to hear 11.A, which is the 100 Main Street, Cobden, to be heard after 8.2 on the agenda. For the sake that the public comments are here, so this way we can hear their public comments and then go into a motion to debate the issue afterwards instead of making them sit through the entire meeting.
Okay. So do I need to?
Sorry.
Please, and that's Councillor Tabbert and Councillor Moore. Knew this wasn't going to be easy. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is the adoption of the minutes for the October 1st regular council meeting. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. The first is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approved the October 1, 2025 minutes. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Bell and Councillor Moore. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, then I will call for a vote. That is carried. Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is our committees and boards. And we do have one board from the Muskrat Watershed Council minutes of September the 23rd. And I will just ask to see if Councillor Taberta would have anything to add to that.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have is the disclosure of interest. Is there any member of council that has any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, thank you. And next we will go into presentations. 6.1. And today we have got a presentation from the Whitewater Historical Society, the Ross Museum update, and budget request from Debbie McDonald. So Debbie, if you would like to take the, thank you. Green.
Oh, all right. Well, hello, my name is Debbie MacDonald, and I'm the treasurer for the Whitewater Historical Society, and I'd like to thank Council for allowing the Ross Museum to present our two capital projects that we have on deck for 2026. The first project I'd like to discuss is the brick repair work, and if we have a picture there on the monitor that is required on St. Aidan's Church. St. Aidan's Church was built in 1891 and is a prime attraction for those visiting the Ross Museum. The church was originally located on the 3rd line in Alice Township and was relocated to Forster's Falls in 2006 to become a part of the Whitewater Historical Society. We host many exhibits in the church, such as the art show displaying the art of local artisans, the historic quilt display, and we also host our annual Christmas Carol and Cookies event at the end of November. As you can see from the photos, the brickwork is crumbling where it meets the foundation on 2 corners of the church, just below the eaves trough downspouts. This damage is due to weather and water damage from the downspouts, and the downspouts need repair as well. To prevent further damage to the church, it is recommended that the brickwork be restored as well as the eaves troughs downspouts repaired. We have obtained one repair quote of $6,200 plus HST. Another quote is being obtained by the township staff. The Whitewater Historical Society has committed to covering half of the costs for the brickwork repair. And now our second capital project is the construction of a shelter to house our historic snow roller that focuses on life in the region during the 1850s and families who farmed, logged, and built in the region. The Whitewater Historical Society has a rare piece of antique machinery that is currently sitting outside and is exposed to the elements. The snow roller, sometimes called a land roller, is also in need of repair and needs to be protected. A Google search that I did today indicates that the Ross Museum's snow roller is the only documented snow roller in Canada, with Vermont's Peacham Historical Association being the only other location that popped up in my search. There may be other snow rollers in existence, but this proves that the Whitewater Historical Society has a rare piece of history in its collection that needs to be protected. So far in 2024 and 2025, our fundraising efforts have raised over $16,000 and still growing. We also plan to solicit donations from local companies when sourcing building materials. At this time, we have obtained one construction quote of $25,000 plus HST to construct a shed to house the snow roller, as well as a few other larger artifacts that are currently in our drive shed. The Committee of Adjustment has approved the minor variance application submitted by the Whitewater Historical Society for the location to build the shelter. The Historical Society is also requesting support from the township to assist in the building of this structure. And you can see by the photo of that snow roller, it's a rather large item, so that is the need to have a shed built to house it. Any questions? That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Do I have any questions from council? No, we're good. Great, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Tabbert.
Thank you. Do we have, through you, Deputy Mayor, do you have a quote or an idea of how much the repairs for the snow roller will be?
We haven't gotten to that yet. We're working on the shelter first.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation. Thank you. Val, I'm sorry.
When it comes to these, this would be more for staff, but when it comes to these capital requests, with the budget meetings coming up for 2026, is this going to be something that comes up in the presentations, or how is this going to come to council as far as consideration for adding these into the budget for 2026?
I'll defer to our treasurer. I know that we have a transfer payment to the museum, but certainly Treasurer McGonigal could assist with responding to that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. So every year there's a grant that's provided to the museum. It was my recommendation to the Historical Society to bring this to council, as it is a special capital project, to ask for the actual support of funding from council, so council can put forward a resolution that they want that included in the budget, and then it would become part of the piece that's brought into the committee whenever we do go into the council as a committee to discuss the budget. That's whenever we would discuss that piece of it. But in order for it to be included, since it's over and above the original proposed grant, to avoid it just being lumped in with the rest of the budget, I asked them to come forward and make this presentation to council to kind of show why they are requesting that money and that support. It's not really, it's council's and the mayor's decision in the end of being a mayor's budget, so it's just to bring it forward to that point.
You'll allow me through you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
What we could investigate, I believe these facilities are within our asset management plan. I don't believe we have a formal agreement, if you will, for the lease of the facilities. But in any case, as part of the budget process, our staff team could investigate that and better understand that together with our asset management plan and sort of, how that fits into all of our assets, if you will.
So is that something we should move tonight as far as to put that on the floor for consideration for this upcoming budget? As far as direction, to give direction to staff to present this at budget time as an option for extra funding to the Historical Society?
Yeah, and I don't think there's through you again, Deputy Mayor, I don't think there's a need to move a motion. It's noted by staff that there's a request, if you will, from the Historical Society for additional funding, and we'll examine it together with our operating capital budget, see how it fits in. Thanks. Yep.
Thank you very much, Councillor Moore, and then Councillor Tabbert.
Oh, did you ever hand that?
Councillor Moore, sorry.
Just wondering, and I don't know who will take this question, if there were grants available, is it up to the township to apply for grants, or is it up to the Historical Society through the municipality to go for grants? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other questions? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, ladies. Yes, appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Have a good evening. Next on our agenda is 6.2, which is the 2025 third quarterly administrative report. And the recommendation before us is a council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive the 2025 third quarter administration report for information purposes. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Tabbert and Councillor Trim, thank you. And I will move this over to CAO Burton. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I'll just preface the quarterly report with a short message from the CAO. And then we'll go into each department and ask questions per department and flow that way if you'd like. So the third quarter of 2025 was a productive and engaging period for the township. It is marked by a short recess by council through the month of July and August. However, some challenges in June. My message just on behalf of the township and myself, to extend a sincere thanks to MPP Deneau who did take the time to attend some of our delegations and continues to support our advocacy at the provincial level. Administratively, we made some meaningful progress while navigating operational challenges, which I've highlighted already. So we did update our 2025 departmental work plan in August, which is common practice, and it helped better clarify departmental achievements. So we've identified some achievements, but also refining our areas of focus for the remainder of the year. At the same time, we managed the impacts of our extended computer outage, so through June into July, working diligently to move to normal operations and addressing any resulting backlog. We also responded to staffing vacancies across departments, ensuring continuity of service and maintaining operational stability during demanding periods. So I'd just like to highlight a few staff, which are not all of them, but certainly some of them, who have been filling those gaps. So on this point, I'd like to take a moment to recognize several staff members who have stepped up to fill critical gaps across the organization. So just highlighting Debbie Reddy, who's provided some valuable support in corporate communications, and has played and continues to play an important role in our Taste of the Valley event that's upcoming this weekend. So this is, I know that Taste of the Valley is dear to Debbie's heart, and with some of our staff away, she certainly stepped up and has taken on that role. Together, working alongside Debbie, Carmen, our clerk, have been both instrumental in coordinating economic development initiatives. So from ribbon cuttings to other economic development initiatives, just thanks for filling that gap. To Drew McLeese and Braden Mayotte, who are presently serving as acting road superintendents. They are contributing significantly to our operations during this transitional period. So their efforts, together with our manager, Lane, has been essential as we continue to search for a permanent road superintendent. So thanks to that group. And thirdly, to Julie Butala, who's also played a foundational role in community development during our CBO's leave of absence. And we have CBO Schultz with us today, as well as during the recruitment of our new planner, economic development officer, Mackenzie. So while they were away, together, Julie and I worked and resolved a lot of constraints during that period. So Julie Butel at that same time was also learning and adapting to her new role. So it was a new role together with trying to fill those critical gaps in that department. So more broadly, I want to extend a sincere appreciation to all staff who go above and beyond, stepping up wherever needed to support the betterment of our community. And as always, I'm proud of our team's dedication and resilience. With that, I will move over to our community development team, and what I will do is I'll ask CBO Schultz if you wish to just come up to the desk here, and you could highlight a few items, and then we'll ask Mackenzie to join him afterwards.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon yet. So it's nice to be back. I thank all my staff and everybody for filling in and going above their duties when I was gone. We're having a little bit of a slowdown in construction. We're not as busy as what we were like 3 years ago or 4 years ago with COVID time. We're still probably going to hit probably close to $16 million, I think, in construction this year. And we may hit 200 building permits and about maybe 50 septics. So that's what we're thinking. We have six, in the last quarter, we had six new dwellings built, one commercial, 3 dwellings, and 1 agricultural, 4 septics, and 12 accessories. We've had some big projects this year, chicken barns and big barns that have been going up and stuff like that. The agricultural seems to be doing well. So any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for CBO Schultz? Anything? No?
See, none. There might be some after Mackenzie speaks. If you want to come up, Mackenzie, and highlight a few items, please do so. You get up, Doug?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
So planning-wise, I was here for a portion of this quarter, so getting used to the town dynamics and learning the zoning and official plan along the way, but we had a bit of a slowdown, it seems, in planning applications from last quarter, but we still had 6 zoning bylaw amendments. We're still working on drafts or final subdivision approval for the Ren Phase 3 subdivision. We had a minor variance and 4 consents, and we have some more upcoming for some coming COA meetings, and we did quite a few zoning compliance reports. A lot of them were in July particularly, and then I worked on a couple in September. Yeah, and we're just continuing to work with applicants and try and keep planning moving forward. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Does any questions from council? No, we have none.
That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Get through. Thanks so much.
And thank
CBO
you
Schultz.
very much. It's great to see you back again, CBO Schultz. And welcome again to you as welcome.
We'll have to invite Doug to the council meetings a bit more often. So I'll invite our manager of community services to join me at the front here, just to provide an update. I mean, Stephanie's been going through a bit of a transition here through July into August and September, trying to schedule book the ice arenas and transitioning time. So over to you, Manager Plebin.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So the update for me, we've got the arena ice time calculated for the 2024-2025 ice season from Beachburg and Cobden, so you'll see that in your report. Westmeath is still pending. We do have also the facility use, and I compared it year over year for the Cobden facility, the ball field, as well as the arena ice lab. Following through in our strategic plan, the electrical panel in the arena is ordered, is not quite in yet. So we didn't want to waste time and have it installed before the plant started. We're going to be doing that in the spring with the contractor. We've also received quotes from the engineering firm, we're in the process of receiving quotes from the engineering firm for the Westmeath boat launch. The activities that the staff have been doing, the pickleball and Cobden minor ball and the fitness classes have all been ongoing in the arena. MPP Deneau visited the Whitewater Senior Selk to meet our volunteers and introduce himself. We have had our structural reports received and were presented at the last meeting. Our accessible picnic tables arrived, and that was a big hit from what I'm hearing, and staff were quite excited to build them and put them out. We also have started, and if anybody has any interest, we do have an available ICE email that's continuing from last year into this year. So every Monday, we send out an email to all of our people on our email list to tell them what's available for ICE in Cobden. And if anybody has any interest in joining that email list, you can let them know to send Amber an email. We have also shared in a public skating sponsorship package, as well as a public skating sponsorship package and an advertising sponsorship package this season going into the ice. So we've updated some of our ads that are in there. We've done some painting at the arena, and fall fair prep was in. The asbestos removal was awarded, and the work is almost done. I'm thinking in this next week it should be complete. And the canteen is opened, and the new flood bar was installed on the Olympia, so some of the maintenance things are still being done. Our summer camps ran, and our volunteer appreciation lunch was held at the for the tourist booth volunteers, and some of the council members were invited to that. So the washrooms at the Cobden Park will be closing very shortly, and the arena is going to be used for military training, the back part of it, as well as access to the facility for washrooms through the overnight hours. And the community grant will be awarded in the next quarter, so that's where we're at. If anybody has any questions?
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Yes, Councillor Talbert.
May I ask what the live barn installation is, please?
That's the video recording that we wanted to have installed so that people can watch their kids play hockey from not in the arena. It's called Live Barn, yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Yes, Councillor Moore.
Halfway down the page, videographer visited Whitewater.
Yes, that was a partnership program with Ivan and myself to put together a video series, and you'll see more about that coming in the next update.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much, Manager Plevin. That's great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. So I'll just move over to corporate services, and I'll ask Treasurer McGonigal to join me at the front. He was reluctant, he wanted to do it from the sidelines, but I'm going to have him come up to the front and present his quarterly report. Thanks.
Thank you. So if you look at the first chunk, the second billing of taxation actually went through in Q3, which is the final billing. Everybody would have received those bills at the start of August. The first installment comes out the August 29th, and our second installment is actually due the end of this month. You'll notice that the total taxes receivable at the end of the September 30th reporting period was $1.788 million. But I will note that just under a majority of the amount is actually the 2025 billing year. So what we're doing is all of the older taxes, the 2024s, the 2023s, and the 2022s, we're doing a real push to have those collected, sending out personalized notices, going through the tax sale process and those type of collection methods to ensure that those are collected. Because what it appears to look as is, if you notice back in January, our actual taxes receivable were lower than the prior year. That was due to the fact that most people kind of do their own payment plan type of thing, don't follow our exact installment due dates. So whenever they do that by year end, usually we can recover a lot of the annualized taxes in the current year. So what we're trying to do is eliminate those older taxes, which are the residences that tend to not make payments. By eliminating those, we should be able to bring this down for the 2026 fiscal year and have a much more reasonable number of receivables per year, because it'll only be the current year and plus one, which is per our policy. So we've gone through and done that. The second notices have been mailed out to the properties with the 2+ years. So that includes if you notice, the 210,000, the 218,000, those are the properties we're targeting or sending letters out to notify them that payments need to be made. For water, so $212,000 was receivable at September 30th, which is slightly lower than last year around this time, which is a good sign. And same thing, we're seeing an uptick in monthly payment plans for water, which is and I want to put this out to the public. It's a great way to set up to make payments to the township, because there's no penalty to it, and the fact that whenever increases happen to water and wastewater, which unfortunately are inevitable, it makes those increases much smaller over the period of time, because instead of breaking it down into 6 payments per year, it's broken down into 12 payments per year when they pick the monthly installment method. So I wanted to highlight that piece. So our third and fourth water billings were going out. The next water billing will actually go out in the start of November, water, wastewater. Development charges, so to the CBO's point, the township had collected $15,902.50 worth of township-wide development charges. So that's whenever new homes are built. That's development charges collected. New homes / commercial buildings, things like that. We had nothing for wastewater collected and $2,000 for water, which means either Haley's or Beachburg had 2 homes being built, because that's where the water development only is. If we would have seen a wastewater side, then it would have been a development here in Cobden. So the general fund showing a surplus at the time. However, I will note that a lot of projects are ongoing and haven't been invoiced yet. A lot of major projects are in that phase of ending construction, so invoices will be seen usually in Q4. We are receiving CCBF and OCIF funding, but those are not allocated to the budget as of yet until the actual projects are completed. So we're working diligently to update the asset management plan. We are past the July 1st, 2025 deadline. However, due to the situation that happened in June with the township and some staffing challenges, we're still pushing to have that completed. At this point in time, timeline looks to bring to council either late January or early February, which I've passed on to the ministry, and they're acceptable of. A lot of municipalities are kind of in the same situation, just trying to get this done and working with consultants. So then the other part that we're working on too is the 2024 fiscal year end, which I hope to bring shortly to council, and then the 2026 municipal budget, which you'll see the report coming very shortly, talking about the impacts of that, and then the meetings that ensue with that for the Committee of Council, which is a change this year, and then rolling forward when it comes forward to passing the early or late part of Q4. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Treasurer McGonigal. Is there any questions for council? Yes, Councillor Bell.
Just wondering where we're at with the iCity program for the online billing.
Thank you. It's actually back online, or it's on our website, and it's operational. So it's been fully rebuilt back to, brought back. So anybody who had passwords originally that set their accounts up in early, I'm going to say June, I'm going to say May, late May, early June, in that area. Unfortunately, those usernames were lost whenever we had our computer cyber situation. But the way we rebuilt it now, so you just have to reset up. It's the same PIN number that you had, because we didn't change any of that information because it didn't need to be. So you just can reuse the same PIN number that's at the top of your property tax bill. It's in the upper left-hand corner, right below your roll number. And those are the two pieces of information you have off your final tax bill, and you can create your account. The payments can be made through the system, so you can actually go online, see your balance, and then make a payment directly on it. It's actually live posted to your account, so you can actually see the balance of your account in live time and print your receipts from there. So anybody who wants to do that, same thing with water, they can process that stuff through. One thing I just will note is it takes credit card, so it's Visa, MasterCard, American Express, I think is the other one, and it also takes debit, but there is a administration fee that the processor charges to your card. That's the only part to note whenever anybody makes online payments.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? No? Thank you very much, Treasurer McGonigal.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Curtis, for that. And then we're moving to fire services. So we'll invite our Fire Chief, Jonathan McLaren, to the front table here to provide us a summary of Q3 activities.
Thank you. So in the third quarter, we responded to 40 emergency responses, including 3 fires, 6 motor vehicle collisions, 6 automatic aid calls, and 2 water rescues. There's also 11 public education or in-kind events that we participated in, including the 2 demolition derbies at the fairs and 2 fireworks displays for Canada Day. There was also 4 fire inspections completed. It's the first time we're tracking that in the quarterly report. Work plan and strategic plan progress. The Fire Smart grant work continues for our community wildfire prevention program. This plan should be in place early in 2026 and should better prepare us for wildfire events, which is fairly fitting given our dry weather we've had. A new records management system will be implemented in the fourth quarter to improve our efficiency and reduce the requirement of manually inputting all this information multiple times. Some of the key activities that took place was our annual hose testing and bunker gear testing as per NFPA requirements. We also held a large fire scenario at an acquired structure, which is always a nice way to give a realistic situation to our members. Looking ahead, October is Fire Prevention Month, so we're making visits to the schools and providing fire safety messages. Tanker 9718 is scheduled to be received either the end of this year or early in 2026, which is good news. It's ahead of schedule. We're transitioning from wildfire season, hopefully soon, into our winter months, chimney fires and things of that nature. And we also have an interesting opportunity to partake in some live fire training through the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office Mobile Live Fire Training Unit. This was organized by North Algona Wilberforce Township, so thank you to Chief Champ for taking care of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief McLaren. Do we have any questions? Yes, Councillor Trim.
Yes, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Through you to the Fire Chief. Chief, could you give me us a sense of what the 23 other emergency calls would be?
Yeah, absolutely. It is somewhat dependent on the weather, but for the third quarter, we had a few responses for burn complaints during our burn ban. Other responses would include things like carbon monoxide, sometimes false alarms where it's perceived human emergency. We get there, there's nothing. You know, an example of that would be somebody says that they see smoke in the distance. We arrive, there's no smoke. It was dust from a combine or something like that. So it's a lot of things. Hydro lines down, you name it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Councillor Tabbert.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. You said that there were fires during the burn ban. Were they illegally set, or were there any fines or anything because of the burn ban, because it was extreme?
They were sent to bylaw in some cases if there was actually an emergency, actually a situation when we arrived. Sometimes, again, people will smell smoke or think they see something and we arrive and there's no evidence that anything took place. But anybody who is violating the burn ban, that was sent to bylaw.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from council? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Chief McLaren. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chief. So moving into the office of the CAO, and I'll initially pass this over to our clerk to introduce a few items, and then I'll close that out. Thanks.
So by the numbers, I actually got some bylaw information, although it is for 5 months. It's not just the Q3, so I do apologize. Going forward, I'll be more on top of that. So there's the open calls and some calls that carried over from the following Q2. Our work plan, we're working on our emergency management exercise. Election training has begun. I guess I'll leave that with Brian. AMA was well received, just like the CAO alluded to. Email phishing has begun. We did get the Strong Mayor page on the website, and we are looking ahead to working on a lot of emergency management in the Q4, so that'd be our tabletop exercise, reviewing the HIRA, and we have our all-day staff training day on November 26th coming up. And I'll pass it over to the CEO.
Yeah, thanks, Clerk Miller. I'll just highlight a couple key activities, one of which is the coordination and attendance of the Mayor and CAO regional meeting with the City of Pembroke, Township of Laurentian Valley, and ourselves. So just recognizing our shared priorities, joint purchasing, and municipal service corporation. So are some of the topics we discussed. And then secondly, engaging with the County of Renfrew on a couple items. One is they launched the HYPE initiative, which is a community improvement plan initiative. We concluded the sale, or we are in the process, in the final stages of concluding the sale of 2271 Mindview Road, which is the location of a future new paramedic base for the County of Renfrew. And then also negotiating on the transfer of our CN rail line, which direction was received from council. And if I could return to the table by the numbers, I just want to highlight midway down, one of the categories is short-term rentals. And there were 4 calls between May and September. So I just want to highlight to members of council that one of the initiatives or the outcomes of council deliberation around short-term rentals and licensing was that we would track the number of concerns or calls. So by law enforcement is tracking the calls received, and it appears there were 4 during that period. So not a significant amount, but we're continuing to track that, and we'll support some additional findings maybe in the year-end report. Perhaps Clerk Miller, we could summarize that in the year-end report. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Do I have any questions first for Clerk Miller? Yes, Councillor Tabbert.
For you, Deputy Mayor. So I'm looking at the by the numbers, and there weren't any fire calls, no fire bans or anything that were fire bylaws that were reported.
So normally I don't report on those because that's not in, it is a bylaw issue, but when I go through the GL and I find the areas that the clerk is under, so Jonathan would have reported on the fire calls.
Okay. Okay, I just have a concern that during that ban, there were a few fires, and, I mean, we can't have a bylaw if we aren't going to enforce it, especially during the dry season that we had this year. So I'm hoping that we'll get a report from the bylaw regarding the fire ban bylaws that were.
So through you, Deputy Mayor, we'll note that, and perhaps we could follow up with an email to council once we've connected back with bylaw enforcement team, together with the fire department, to see what were the outcomes of those calls. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And before I move forward, anything for CAO Burton? I see none. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and we will move over to Public Works, and we have two members of the staff team, starting with Superintendent of Environmental Services, Deanna. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ivan. So to dive in here, some of the environmental services numbers from Q3. So for curbside solid waste, so garbage collected at the curb, in Q3 this year we had 395 tons collected, which was a 5% increase year over year. At the landfill, we saw about a 15% decrease of the waste that was directly brought to the landfill. Now, one thing I can note, that the Q1 and Q2 were also quite slow. Q3 is typically when we would see demos coming into landfill, and I can't recall if we received one house demo this summer, or a notable one. So while that probably isn't the full 15%, we definitely had quite a number of them in the previous years due to the flooding issues, and we didn't see that this year. So some of that can be attributed to that. And one additional thing to discuss under the environmental is that we undertake noxious weed spraying throughout the summer months, and usually in about July. Typically that's for wild parsnip, and sometimes we also target poison ivy. So you'll note that there was quite an increase in the number of lane kilometers. From last year was 131, and this year was 278. Staff undertook a fulsome survey the previous summer to see where the plant was growing, and it was a growing program this year. This was the first time we did we targeted every road from top to bottom, had the summer student doing a good survey. So we definitely had an increase on what was sprayed this year. More to the treasurer side of things, but the budget was actually over by $4,700 this year because of that. Now, we might target all the roads, but they only spray where the plant is. So that's the number of kilometers sprayed is actually something picked up by GPS, and it turns on and off and counts the sections as it goes. So this is actually where we sprayed. I can go down into the key activities section. So this was the third year we've partnered with the town of Renfrew to hold the household hazardous waste collection depot, which closed on August 30th. From what I heard, it was well received this year with lots of, we don't have an exact count on the number of Whitewater residents coming in. We do understand that staff at the site definitely note that we're coming, so it's good, it's being used. Our landfill grinding tender, 2519, was awarded to Nadcor Environmental, shredding in the amount of $33,580, including net HST. And the grinders actually just wrapped up their grinding contract just this past Sunday. So it's all cleaned up out there. As well, we issued a tender for scrap metal collection, and it was again awarded to CFT Recycling. Of note, the tonnage price went down by 10% that we're getting paid, unfortunately. As everybody is probably aware, you've heard me talk about it lots, on July 1st, Circular Materials Ontario has taken over the collection of blue box waste from the curbside. So that transitioned on July 1st, both curbside and as well as at our landfill. We are running the landfill on their behalf. And the funding agreements for those are up on December 31st. And it sounds like they're probably the end of it for us. Three more things to note. Our municipal drinking water licenses for each of our 3 systems, Beachburg, Haley's, and Cobden, were all received. So that's great. As part of the landfill work that's been going on the last couple of years, we provided an environmental bill of rights letters to all the surrounding properties of the landfill that give them some information on the ECA amendment application that's being provided. And the township received no comments on the letters that were sent out. Lastly, to note, SEMA Plus was awarded our engineering design services for the Cobden wastewater treatment plant work that will be occurring. And with that, I'll pass it over to Lakewood.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank
And
you
we'll
very
invite,
much. Is there any questions for Superintendent Nicholson? Yes, Councillor Bell.
Just in regards to the spraying, do we do anything after the mulcher has been working on a particular stretch of road to spray for weeds and trees and that sort of thing that are going to grow back in its place? Just in regards to this question, so Fletcher Road, spent a lot of, the mulcher was there basically the entire summer working on Fletcher Road, looks really good right now. Are we doing anything as far as maintenance procedures after a road like that has been completed to make sure that the growth doesn't come back rapidly after we've taken the time and money and the effort to clear out these ditches and roads?
So at this point, we're not. This program targets noxious weeds, and under the regulations, there's certain things that you can spray for. Wild parsnip is one of those things. We don't have a program for targeting like tree regrowth and that sort of thing. I can pass it off to to Lane on that question, for that question, if you'd like.
Thanks, Deanna.
Yeah, and just to that note, so what items that currently now, because we are behind, like in our, most of our roads are well overgrown, and we were spending a lot of time in the last 5 years to get caught up. The one improvement was this year with our recent purchase with our greater mulch head. So the procedure we're doing is with our brush head that goes on our excavator, we're taking down our well overgrown roadways, and then once then we follow up every periodically every year or 2 years with the greater mulch head, which is a lot faster process, and if we were be more proactive, we can catch the small growth. It'd be quicker to go through our road network.
So the maintenance procedure is with that greater mulcher as opposed to doing any sort of spraying or anything along those lines?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Great. Then I will turn this over to Manager Cleroux. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, staff were very busy in Q3. We were, they were completing Mindview Road, which they completed 21 culvert replacements in large diameters from 450 diameter to 1500 diameter culverts. Additionally, placed over 10,000 tons of gravel placed on Mindview Road ahead of the double shift treatment. And additionally, Grant Settlement Road received patches for the double surface treatment was completed. The mechanic staff were very busy they did 13 internal fleet safeties, and additional, they repaired major repairs to 2 plow equipment tandem trucks. Wallace and Simmons Drive staff completed culvert replacement and also placed gravel on the 2 road sections, and then it was paved in September. And then with the gravel road program, the last section of Pleasant Valley Road from Powers to Fletcher was completed. To date, there's been 2 out of 4 roads completed. The Kerr line is half completed, and staff will be completing it very shortly. The 1 Acres Road section, staff won't get to it this year due to staffing challenges. And that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manager Cleroux. Any questions for council? Got you off the hook. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. And then now we will move to council business. Do you want to summarize that, Clerk Miller? Thanks.
Okay, so because of the summer break, council did meet 5 times. You heard 11 bylaws, 23 reports, and 5 presentations. And if there's any questions on anything in that report, you can just ask me. Thanks.
Thank you, Clerk Miller, and that's the concluding remarks of our third quarter report. Attached to the third quarter, there's also budget variances, and if there's any questions, you could please direct them to Curtis either today or another day. So thanks so much, members of council, for affording us the opportunity to present this, and thanks also to all the staff who've contributed. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, CAO Burton. And on behalf of all of council, I do want to say thank you very much to all of our staff. And if you can pass that on to everyone, we greatly appreciate all the work, all the efforts, and I know it's been a challenging year so far, and it's just been an amazing job that everybody has done. So thank you very much, and if you pass that on to everyone.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, moving along, we are now at our mayor's address, and we do not have one at this time. And item number 8 is public comments. And at this time, I would like to invite Jody Delorier to come forward, please, and speak on behalf of 100 Main Street. Thank you, Jody.
I'm Jody, and this is my brother, Scott. We're owners of Cobden Auto Supply. We're the last business on the west side of Cobden. We're here because we have a septic system.
Excuse me, can I just hold for 1 second? For some reason, we can't hear.
It is green. Just get closer to the mic.
Okay. We're the last business on the west side of Cobden. We've got a septic system that's in dire need of repair since the end of March. We discovered the issue and we immediately contacted Tom Barr to come and inspect it. There was a huge hole inside of our parking lot, and the septic system, the tank had totally disintegrated. Tom came and did some measurements and told us that it was an easy repair and that he would apply for the necessary permits. After a couple of weeks, we were informed by the township that we couldn't repair or replace our septic system, that we had to connect to the town sewer. Because of where the sewer pipes come out of the side of the building, it's not a simple hookup to the town sewer. Now, I'm just in layman's terms, very basic, because I'm a bookkeeper, I'm not a plumber. The pipe comes in on Main Street. It's up here. To my estimation, the pipe that comes out of the building is down here. So the septic system goes out this way. So in order to hook up to the septic, to the town hall, to the town septic, we have to go uphill. That's in my layman's terms. So we've had several contractors come and look at us and give us various quotes, as well as explain to us the huge job of hooking up with the pumping station, multiple cleanouts, 45-degree long sweeps, whatever that means, excavating under hydro and gas lines, because all of our lines come out of that side of the building, which, not to mention the cost, which was a little bit, it floored us. The cost of hooking up to the town sewer is more than double the cost of replacing our existing septic system. We're just a small family business. We've been here since 1978, and we've done our best to comply with all the town's regulations. However, this issue has been ongoing since March, and with frost coming soon, we're asking for a permit as soon as possible. Otherwise, we run the challenge of being shut down till spring. So we're here tonight to ask for a permit to either replace the entire septic system or simply a permit to replace the tank itself until such time we can afford to hook up to the town sewer. Since March, if you've been to Cobden Auto, you've noticed a huge gaping hole in the side of the parking lot. We've got pylons and ropes around it so that no one falls in. It's a huge safety hazard right now. But we simply can't wait any further, or we're going to have to be shut down. So that's basically why we're here tonight.
Thank you very much for that, Jody. Thank you.
You're looking at me, Deputy Mayor, so,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure through you, the clerk, procedurally, the public comments relate to that agenda item. Do we want to move the motion and get it moved and seconded prior to me presenting the memo? Would that?
So if I may, so that was the amendment was to hear the report, or to hear that correspondence next. So if we want to move to that, that would be great.
And so that will be required direction, and that is on item number 11A. So at this time, I do have a 100 Main Street memo from CAO Burton regarding the replacement of the septic tank. I do have a recommendation that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region authorize septic tank replacement only, subject to an agreement requiring connection to municipal services if the septic bed fails. If I could have a mover and a seconder, Councillor Moore and Councillor Bell. Sorry, Moore and Bell.
Thanks so much, and if you'll allow me. So,
Yes, thank you.
So together with the memo from staff, there is a sort of an email letter correspondence from the owners of the Cobden Auto Supply, so Jody and Scott. So in that, recognizing that the concern, the issue occurred in the spring, and our manager of Public Works has been working with the owners to get quotes and get contractors lined up to understand what would be involved to connect the building to municipal services. And ultimately, the request is that what's before council in the resolution is that we look at an alternative to connecting to the municipal sewers, which is allowing for the replacement of the tank. Because we are, ultimately the owners are seeking some direction, some decision from council. We immediately prepared the memo now so that council could deliberate the matter and ultimately come to a decision to support the implementation of the decision. So I've asked our planner to put together, he's still with us, together with our CBO, great, to put together the policies that would apply typically in a development application. So you have your provincial policy statement, you have your county of Renfrew official plan, our zoning bylaw, and then our manager provided copies of the 2013 bylaw. That's our bylaw regulating public sewage and public waterworks. So there's sections referenced of that, and then some considerations. I'll quickly highlight those policy framework. So the PPS, the provincial policy statement, essentially establishes a hierarchy of servicing. Preferred servicing is by municipal water, wastewater. Secondary is communal, and then the third tertiary servicing model would be the private on-site servicing. So the province establishes this hierarchy in order to provide development in our communities. So similar to the PPS, the County of Renfrew official plan has the same hierarchy of policy, but it does provide some minor exceptions. So it speaks to providing, in certain cases, private servicing, which may be a more feasible preferred option for low water users. And we did confirm with our treasurer that this is this use is defined as a small commercial, so it's kind of on the lower water usage. And I believe they only have one washroom or something to the like. Secondly, the servicing policies in the county official plan do speak that in settlement areas, which is like the villages of Cobden, the hamlets of Westmeath and the like, you could allow for private services for the purpose of infilling or minor rounding out. So one could sort of define the current facility as sort of infilling or minor rounding out. It also speaks to allowing for, in certain circumstances, partial services, so municipal water and septic, where they are necessary to address failed individual on-site sewage or individual on-site water services in existing development. So there are exceptions in the official plan. It's not clearly laid out that you have to connect in the official plan, and that's why we have a bylaw. So locally, township in 2013, post amalgamation, established this bylaw in 2013 to establish that, where there is, are we good, Deputy Mayor? Do you want us? All right, great, excellent. I just want to make sure. Thank you. So that bylaw basically establishes that where there's a new building or existing building, where there's municipal services, water or wastewater that exist or become available. So if the township decides to extend a water line or extend a sewer line, that the property owners shall be subject to us serving them notice that they connect to the municipal infrastructure. This is common practice, as I understand it, in Ontario, at least in the communities where I worked, Clarence, Rockland, Renfrew. If it's a new building, you're essentially forced to connect, and existing buildings where you extend the lines, it's common practice where you kind of initiate that connection to the water and wastewater services. So the considerations for members of council, so the PPS and official plan, they encourage but do not require connection to municipal services. It indicates where it's not feasible. The use of individual on-site services can be considered. And then essentially the summary to this is, given the existence of a functional private servicing system that has no adverse impacts on the subject or adjacent lands, the distance to the existing service of the subject lands to the municipal services, and the costs associated with it, the repair of the existing system tank only may constitute a more practical and efficient use of services at this time. So if this is the consideration of council, staff are recommending that we essentially, if council approves the tank only replacement, that we enter into an agreement to ensure that there's connection to the municipal services in the future should the bed fail. So in my conversation with Mrs. Delorier, as a compromise to forcing the connection or replacing the entire system, this was an alternative that I think would be acceptable, where we replace the tank now, and should the bed fail in future years, then that would be the onus, the threshold to say we connect to municipal services. There appeared to be an appetite for that. But in my memo to council, I present three options. I mean, they're really the only three options. We take the bylaw that's in place. We require the connection. 2, we do this alternative. We allow for the tank replacement subject to an agreement. Or C, we authorize the full replacement of the septic tank. Ultimately, that facility, that property, that septic system may last 15, 20 years, which will ultimately take that long to connect to the municipal service. So staff and through myself, the CAO, to council, recognizing that there is a balance here. I mean, we have high water, wastewater rates as a result of the number of users. We're trying to implement more users on our system to try to proportionally distribute the cost to everybody. Option B seems feasible for the present time, replacing the septic tank only, subject to that agreement requiring connection when the septic bed fails. So this is all provided to council for consideration and deliberations, and I'll be glad to answer any questions if you want. Thanks.
Thank you very much, CAO Burton. Do I have any questions from council? Councillor Tripp.
Through you, Madam Deputy Mayor, to CAO, I'm going to agree with this. I support this compromise. I think it's a good idea. However, I'm just worried that if in 2 years the bed fails, then it's going to look like we were very mean to require them to hook up to the system with a brand new tank in the ground. I'm worried about that optic and putting that on a new council coming forward. That's just the consideration. The bed may last 15 or 20 years, and that would be great. But if it doesn't, just as long as there is a good understanding that this is a compromise, but And it would work economically very well if the bed lasted for a number of years. But should the bed fail in a couple of years, then this has only increased the cost. That's my only concern, and as long as everybody is aware of that up front, and they're signing the agreement with full understanding that that's the way it shall be, I support it. Thank you.
And there wasn't much of a question there, but the staff and the property owners are aware of that consideration. Our CBO has also expressed that to me, that there is potential that the bed fails. So maybe we'll emphasize that in the preface of the agreement, recognizing your comments. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Moore?
I'm in agreement with option B. It's unfortunate that the tank has failed. Normally it's the other way around. Normally it's the field bed that fails. So I'm in agreement that with the amount of usage, Monday to Saturday or whatever, I feel safe that they'll be good for a number of years. So I think that the safest option right now to keep them in business is to replace the tank. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councillor Bell?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to staff, it's laid out option A, B, and C here, but I don't believe we're allowed to ask the presenters questions. But for the property owners, what is option A, B, C for? Is option A a full replacement, or is it to replace the tank to get through this season, essentially?
So staff, because there's a policy that requires the connection, we presented, there's a requirement to connect. I mean, the preferred alternative by the owners was replacement of the septic. They've applied for a full replacement. In my conversations with the owners, the middle ground where we replaced the tank only was a consideration, and it appeared to be acceptable. So I think your question is, what is the owner's preferred alternative? Yeah, so I would say probably the full replacement of the septic system. But the balance, which I spoke to very briefly, of trying to get more properties connected to the system, because we have the system in place and it extends to that property, I think that's where we as staff are trying to balance it with that compromise in the middle. So preferred, probably full replacement of the system, tank and bed. However, so that would be the first option for the owners, I suppose. I'm seeing some nodding heads without them talking. B is an alternative that's been considered and discussed with the owners. And then A, connection is the least of the options. Yeah.
I would just say from my perspective, one being, especially being where they are on the outskirts of Cobden, I'm guessing that's the end of the line. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the end of the line for the wastewater system?
Yeah, and I don't know that question. I think it is. There's municipal water there, and perhaps our manager of public works can confirm whether or not. There's municipal water connection, I believe, and that would be the end of the line. Go ahead, Mayor.
That is correct. There was, that's the last property where the water stops, and then also there's a sanitary manhole that was placed in front of the building. And also there was actually a lateral stubbed out into the property line for future connection when it was designed and installed.
So I guess from my perspective, if the property owners wanted to go ahead with a full system replacement, tank and bed, being the last one on the service, being one property, from my perspective, I think if the property owners wanted to take on the cost of doing a full system replacement, I would, from my personal perspective, I would be 100% okay with that. If they're willing to find middle ground, I'm okay with the tank replacement. But for one property at the end of the line, and being the amount of water usage that I'm sure goes through that building any given day, the demand on that that septic system, I'm sure, is minimal. And especially knowing that property and the surrounding properties, I'm sure a septic field there is not detrimental to any of the existing properties or property owners. So from my personal perspective, I would be okay with them going with a tank and bed replacement to make sure that they're happy moving forward for the next, hopefully keep this business going for the next 15, 20, 25 years. But that's my personal perspective.
Thank you very much. Councillor Trim?
Yes, and I would like to respectfully, for my friend Mark, also have, I have another opinion. The property further beyond is still in the original plan of subdivision for the town of Cobden, and so development could happen beyond here. Yes, the lines end at this point. However, that doesn't mean that they can't continue further for further development for water and sewer. And so, because I know that is a possibility, I would not agree with option A. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Madam Deputy.
Thank you. Any other, Councillor Tabbert?
I have to agree with Councillor Bell. Why can't they do a full replacement? They've never been attached to our sewer system. So why are we forcing them to now? I know you want to make money off them, but is that a way to help our businesses, is to say, hey, we're going to force you to go onto a system that you really don't use as much as other people? No. If they want to do number one, I would be in favor of that.
Just for clarity, we're not trying to make money off anybody. We staff are not trying to make money off anybody. I want to make that clear publicly. The policy that's in place is adopted by council. The policy that requires connection, the one that requires connection, was adopted by council in 2013. Again, I'm leaving the deliberation to the members of council because it is a policy that council has adopted. If you wish to go against the policy, that's at your discretion. I would only caution as a CAO that we need to emphasize the reasoning why we would accept the full replacement. So for example, if there's a new business that comes into town on a vacant property that it can be serviced by municipal water and wastewater, would we consider them differently than an existing business? I would say we probably would, because it's a new business where they don't already have an existing septic system. So just let's make sure that if we are deliberating and making a decision around full replacement, that it is based on the fact that there's an existing system there. But again, I'm leaving it to the members of council to deliberate the discussion, yeah. Back to you, Deputy Mayor. Thanks.
And back to Councillor Tabbert.
Since we are, I just lost my thought here, but, okay, I'll have to pass and come back to it.
Councillor Bell.
Just to CEO Burton's point there, I would 100% agree. If a new business was coming in and developing a piece of vacant land to put in a business, and those options were, and they were serviced by municipal services, I'd 100% agree with that. But it sounds to me like this building was built at a time whenever those services didn't exist. They are going to be taking on extra costs because of that, whereas a new site plan is going to lay out elevations and that type of thing that would probably get them away from adding a pumping station, doing the extras that are are the requirements to get them connected to the system right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like in this particular situation, serviced with its private bed, private tank, haven't had any issues up until this point. It sounds like there's going to be, like with the gas lines already in place, with the water lines already in place, they're going to have to excavate that at always increased costs. I would just say with this particular situation, personally, I'm 100% comfortable with allowing them to do the full replacement, but recognizing that that's not the standard by which moving forward, if there were future developments. I feel like some of the issues that they're going to be running into to hook up to the municipal wastewater service would be avoided with a potential site plan and a future development. That would be my take on that.
Councillor Tabbert.
Okay, so if we are making an agreement that they have to replace it if the septic bed fails, can we not say that once there's new owners who take over that building, that they must attach or hook up to the wastewater system then?
I don't think I would connect, I don't think I would make the liaison based on who owns the property. I think it would be challenging. We're not aware of who owns, like, we become aware when properties are transferred because our municipal tax system, but we're not tracking the municipal sales of, like, the sales of properties per se. I don't know why we would emphasize a different option or requirement from one owner to the next. I mean, this building exists, it's a commercial business. The future purchaser might be a commercial garage business as well, so nothing will really change, right? I would, if I could, through you, Deputy Mayor, I mean, I'll ask my colleagues, we have our environmental superintendent together with our manager of public works. Would you guys provide any more input that would help the deliberations? I know that the manager was managing the costing around the quotes and supporting that, like obtaining quotes. I'm not sure what those numbers revealed. But there is some indication that it was 2 times the cost to put in to connect to municipal services. But again, until you get the work done, you don't really know. But in any case, just generally around servicing, why should we connect? Why does a policy like that exist? Perhaps around that. Thanks.
Yeah, so there's bylaw 1305, 617. There's requirements like section 3 that the owner does apply, and then the process came through the building permit. And then, you know, as staff, we provided the bylaw that's been in place since 2013. I've been working with the owners of Cobden Auto, probably above and beyond what we typically do in a process, but I assisted them in getting multiple quotes, and even went gone farther as getting locates just to make sure the process there's no delay in the process. You know, there is quotes. You know, typically that we wouldn't do that typically, right? But one thing item that it is, with one contractor, they had pricing to do it, gravity feed, it's very close, and with just guessing at the elevation of the building comes out, and then actually measuring the elevation of the storm sewer in the parking lot. That is very close to elevation, and one price did come in. It was double than the quotation for the full septic replacement. Another quote came in with a simple pumping station that you'd have, and that was almost half the cost of the full replacement of the septic system. So the prices range quite a bit from, you know, very low, like for under half to double in cost. Staff, that's the direction we're following. The bylaw has been in place since 2013, and it's a direction of council which way they want to move forward with.
Thanks so much, Manager Kluge. I think the deliberation rests with council. I mean, back to you, Deputy Mayor, if there's any more discussion. And the motion through you, Clerk, and through you, Deputy Mayor, it is read that option B, the compromise, like the middle ground. So back to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much to Councillor Trim.
Okay, I'm hoping I understood, Madam Deputy Mayor, the director, that one of the quotes to hook to the municipal system was half the price of a complete new septic system. Did I hear that correctly?
It probably wasn't quite half. Using rough numbers, it was cheaper than the one item. Just additional council, we do have multiple properties within the village that are serviced on septic system, So it's not a one-off property. There's other properties within the village of Cobden that have the same scenario, that they're on septic system and they're on serviced water. There is a lot of practice. It's not good practice to have water service on septic. Typically you have, but we do have other systems like the village of Beachburg, for example, that they don't have a collection system. I can pass it to a colleague, Deandis, for information on the whole environment side, why we don't have septic systems in a village like Cobden, for example.
I mean, I think the main thing to point out between septic versus sanitary is that a sanitary connection and the plant treats water to a higher quality standard. The septic beds are less efficient at pulling stuff out. Council could consider that the lake is at capacity, and as a general policy, my understanding is that sanitary connections are to be encouraged. That being said, if the septic bed is functioning as it stands now, I mean, lots of the municipality has septic, and if it's operating, it is what it is. But yeah, if it fails in the future, the best next step would be a sanitary connection. So I guess it comes down to council's desires, right?
Just if you'll allow me, just to supplement, just
Please.
your question, Councillor Trim, about the cost. So in my conversations with the owners, they were a bit doubtful of the lesser amount because one was so high, one was so low. It's like, why is that happening? So that just, I don't want to speak for them because, but that was one of the things they've expressed. Like there's some uncertainty there, so that's kind of why they're preferring the full replacement of the septic system.
Thank you very much, Councillor Trim, and then we're going to soon be moving on.
Further, there's some information other information I don't have, and because it's been brought up, there's been an assumption made, maybe quite correctly, that the facility was there before the services were installed, and so they had an existing system, and then the facility, the services came along, and at that time, before bylaws and whatever, they didn't hook up. I don't know if that's an assumption or if that is in fact the case.
Yeah, if I could just defer to our manager. I believe you have the timeline when the municipal wastewater service was put in. I believe the building was built in excess of probably 50 years ago-ish, so a long time ago. Perhaps when was the sewer put in?
Yeah, I don't have the exact date, but it was definitely well after the building was installed. So the services were brought out to the edge of the village.
So building, septic system all existed prior to that sewer pipe being put in at the road, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none. So we do have to make a decision here. We have an option A, we have option B, we have option C. So what has been brought forward was option B, and I guess moving forward, that is the option. If not, we will have to change that then. Correct? Yeah.
So if there's no more discussion, what we could do is vote on this option and, yeah.
Councillor Tabbert.
May I ask for a recorded vote, please?
Okay, so at this time, we're looking at option B.
So the motion that we are voting on is that the Council of Township of Whitewater Region authorize the septic tank replacement only, subject to an agreement requiring connection to municipal services if the septic bed fails. And we've asked for a recorded vote, so I'll start with, I'm sorry, Councillor Bell?
I can't hear you. No. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Not in favor?
Councillor Tabbert?
Not in favor.
Councillor Trim?
In favor?
Sorry, Councillor Moore?
In favor.
And Deputy Mayor Regier?
And I am in favor.
Okay, so
Thank you.
it's carried 71%, so.
Good? Everyone's good? Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your patience and for, and I'm sure it was probably an interesting few, little time with us here as we went through our, we appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Absolutely. So at this time, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and if you can count us out. Okay, thank you very much. And so we are moving on to item 9.1. We're going in under reports. And first item on the agenda is the budget preliminary findings. And I have a recommendation that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive the 2026 budget preliminary findings and timetable as information only. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Trim and seconded by Councillor Moore. Thank you very much. And I will turn this over to Treasurer McGonigal. Thanks, it's beginning a long night. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So this is a similar presentation I've done every year for the budget piece as a kind of an intro into what's going to be expected whenever the full day meeting comes to pass. The difference is with the implementation of strong mayor's powers, it's no longer a budget direction that I'm seeking at this point in time. It's more or less just a update for the public and for yourselves before the committee meets as a whole to talk the budget side as to what I found so far for the preliminary findings and where we're kind of sitting with the mayor's direction for the budget. You'll remember he brought that on September 16th. There was the letter brought to all of council stating how there was going to be the creation of a committee to hear the entire budget and deliberate that process, to expand the strong mayor powers to council and to the public. So originally in the mayor's direction, there was to be a five-year budget forecast, including inflation, cost of living adjustments, maintaining level of service, and then the asset management plan updates with the 4.2% per year, which is what we've been maintaining in the last 3 years, as well as OSIF, OMPF, CCBF allocations, OPP, county, and Ministry of Education forecasts. So we're working towards that portion. We're also working on the 5-year capital funding projection, as well as the 5-year supported water and wastewater study. Portion of the budget, which will be building off of the water wastewater study that was just brought to council earlier in 2025. And then we're incorporating in the taxation growth, as well as using user fees to align with subsidies and things to support the ratepayer only. And then the main point that that was noted was that the overall increase of the levy couldn't be over 7%, and that the cost of it as a thing to median household income was 3.4%. So looking at it right now, just for reference, the 2025 municipal levy was $7,748,500. 1% of that is $77,485. So anytime when we talk about the 7% as a total number, that's 7%, so it's 7 times the $77,485 is what the actual increase is. So the first point that I note is the CPI. Similar to my prior reports to this nature. So CPI, we have traditionally been using June to June. So this one went from June 2024 to June 2025. And that's what we tend to use for salary increases, as well as certain increases to levels of service whenever there's pieces that are affected directly by inflation. So the June to June is 1.8% this year. Then the next part is the federal and provincial funding. So we have not got a response yet from UMP, which is our Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. It is the biggest funding that we receive for operating. All of our other fundings that we receive is capital related only. This one is our only operating related funding, which offsets the day-to-day operations, keeps the lights on type of thing. So at the time of writing of this report, I haven't got a confirmation, but however, our amount last year was $1,227,200. And I will note that there was a commitment in 2024 that for the 2025-2026 years, there was a $100 million increase to the overall pot for that money. When that happened last year, we seen a $77,000 increase in our UMP funding. So at this point in time, I'm actually projecting another $77,000 increase, which is another, more or less a 1% increase in funding from the provincial government. Because overall our calculations haven't changed that much, so I'm projecting it'll be in that same range. The other one that we have got confirmation for, and you probably all have seen it in the paper before the mail stopped coming out, was OCIF funding, so Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. So it's been confirmed for 2026. We'll have $817,064. We prorate that amount split between water, wastewater, and our general operating assets because OCIF is generated using those assets in order to get that funding because it's formula-based. So we've broke it out last year, apportioned it into those 3 categories. So the increase this year is 10% overall. From the prior year. So our prior year's allotment, 2025, was $742,785. 2024 was $645,900. So you'll see there's quite a good increase over the time. We still, however, are quite a few years away from ever reaching the top of that funding. The change from the 15% to 10% has actually changed our timeline for getting to the top of that funding from about 2031 to 2034. So it will get there, it's just going to take a little bit more. Canada Community Building Fund is a fund that's secured by the Associations of Municipality of Ontario, AMO, and that has actually contracted out, so we know exactly what that funding is for the next 3 more years, because they actually signed a contract with the government to provide that funding. So it's going to be $236,620 for 2026, the same as it was for 2025, and in 2024 it was $227,155. I note the infrastructure gap is still an issue, and it's something that Council has put a strong focus towards. So originally, whenever we did our asset management plan, the current one we're currently operating out of is the 2022 asset management plan, which was done by PSD. There was a $12.9 million overall annual requirement to renew our assets. At that point in time, we had an $11.7 million gap between what we actually had as funding and what we actually needed annually to fund their assets. That made up of 9.4 was tax funded and $3.5 million was rate funded. And when I say rate funded, I mean water, wastewater. So the AMP recommended an annual increase of 4.2%, which is what Council has been approving the last 2 years, and the first year of 2023 was actually 4.8. So, and then there was 7.1% for rate-funded assets and 2.9% for sanitary assets. Those 2 numbers have been, the last 2 for water and wastewater have been superseded by the water wastewater study that we just created because that's the updated model. So that will get integrated into the new asset management plan, so I wouldn't focus on those numbers too much. It's just I put them in there for context as to what was originally part of the asset management plan. So currently the township commits the 4.2%. So you'll notice that would work out to be $325,437 added to the levy for capital, which is going to bring, with the prior year's contributions, to a total of the levy of $1.2 million towards capital. Still leaving, that's a rate funded only, so it still leaves about an $8 million $7.4 million gap between the actual amounts that needs to be funded to come to the same level of service and the same assets we have today. I left this graph in to kind of show where the projection goes. You can see by the year 2026, graph is bang on as to where we are, and by the year 2032, we'd be just a little over $3.5 million, 3.6. So with the Canada Community Building Fund, and the Community Infrastructure Fund, we'll have approximately $2.26 million in overall capital money, which is attributed into the operating and the water wastewater, as noted before. Municipal insurance last year seen a 8.44% increase year over year. We're still in the process of doing the renewal for that. It's one of the projects I've been currently working on. So for the 2025 budget, I'm pushing in right now as a 8% increase, and based on last year's total amount, works out to be about $19,600 as an increase. Policing is another one that I wanted to highlight. As of yet, we have not received a notice of saying what the policing increase will be. You'll all remember the last year was a big issue for a lot of municipalities because we've seen initially a 22.6% increase. This year, however, we received a notice saying that they were going to limit that to 11%. The only thing I'm not entirely sure is if they're doing the annual increase by 11% or whether it's the annual increase plus the reconciled amount. So that's the part that's not clear in the letter. So what I've done is I've actually allocated it as that plus the reconciled amount. I've done the calculation for what roughly their amount will be and included that into the actual budget numbers that I'm bringing forward tonight. So under the financial implications, we're still holding with the 7% overall taxation increase. 2.8% is the operating levy. That includes the 1.8% council and staff cost of living adjustment, and 4.2% is the general capital levy per the AMP. Per the water wastewater study, 5% was the water rate increase, and 4% was a sanitary rate increase. So the tentative schedule is October 21st, so next Tuesday, will be a full-day public meeting, or not public meeting, full-day meeting with council in committee to discuss the full budget. So we'll talk operating, capital, water, wastewater, the whole everything as we have done in the prior years. We'll then come to the November 5th, which we'll do a regular or a council committee meeting piece, either before or after. I have to check with the clerk, just to kind of go over any budget changes that have happened since the actual full day meeting. Then we'll roll into the regular council meeting, and then the public meeting will actually be held at the end of that meeting as its own standalone meeting. I believe starting about 4:45, I think, by the news thing, or 5 o'clock. We'll set out that time shortly. After that public meeting was held, on November 18th, we'll hold a special council meeting to have the overall budget presented to council piece. And then on December 3rd, the budget will be deemed adopted because the mayor can adopt the budget at that point in time per the new Strong Mayor Act pieces. Is there any questions?
Whoa, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Treasurer McGonigal. Is there any questions here from council? Oh, got a few. Okay, first, Councillor Tabbert, please.
Yes, the 8.4% increase in the insurance, why is that? That seems awfully high to me. Why is it so high?
So we've seen two kind of bigger increases last year. One was our overall admin fee, which they hadn't changed in a number of years, so there was a little bit of an increase on that chunk. And the other one was the property liability, and it's seen a little bit of an increase, as well as our cyber, small increases. So all of those kind of combined to that. Overall, the prior year was 7.9%. So we've trended around that 8. 2023, I think, was around 6. So it's in kind of a work plan with the CIO and myself to go to the next step of doing an RFP for insurance services. Just doing it at this point in time doesn't seem plausible at this stage, but for 2027 would be the plan for that point.
We're here. The amount for the police that you said in here, the 1,000 or 1,010,000, does this include the board as well? The board's expenses?
No, it does not. So that is just straight OPP billing costing. So whenever that was done, so whenever we ran the budget last year, OPP worked out to be $1.18 million is what we actually budgeted for. The province came back with a discounted piece to kind of help everybody out to come back. And what they actually did is they almost brought it right back to 2024's budgeted amount. However, whenever that process came through, my recommendation to council was to not take the full amount that they were offering as a discount back and still budget and levy into to leave something in reserve. So that worked out to be about $118,000 is what will be pushed forward and that's what's kind of softening the blow for 2026 if we see that full increase the way I'm expecting. Should we not, then we'll just fluctuate it into every year to mitigate the overall 11% increase that they're proposing over the coming years. We'll be kind of able to flatline the OPP out of the overall impact of our budget.
Your question, though, Councillor Tabbert, was the board, our contribution, the $18,000 or $16,000 to the Ottawa South OPP board. It's not included in the 1 point.
No. So the board itself is actually a separate line of the budget, and it'll be talked about whenever we talk budget itself. And it hasn't changed as of yet because I haven't received a new proposed budget or adopted budget from the board. But based on prior numbers that I've integrated that in, and right at this point in time, there's no change that I see happening to the overall budget from 2025 into 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I do believe Councillor Moore was next.
Councillor Tabbert asked my question. My question was insurance, and it's been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Okay. Seeing none. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. So at this point in time, I would like to call for the vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. And we'll look forward to Tuesday. Okay, moving on to item number 9.2 is a renewal of lease agreement in Westmeath and Lapasse boat launches, and a recommendation that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve entering into a 5-year agreement with Fisheries and Oceans Canada's small craft. Is there somebody talking? Okay. Small Craft Harbor Branch for the renewal lease of both Lapasse and Westmeath boat launches. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please, Councillor Trim and Councillor Bell. And I will turn this over to Manager Plevin. Thank you.
Thank you. So through the summer, we received a copy of the updated lease, which required renewal by September 30th. So we're bringing this forward to council. The property is owned again by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans and maintained by the Township of Whitewater. We do need to renew the 5-year lease agreement to continue with the capital work planned in the Westmeath boat launch, as well as for public access to use in both boat launches. The capital funding for set aside for 2025 will have plans for design work to be completed this fiscal year. It's important to note that with a lease agreement in place, the township is authorized to generate revenue from the use of the facility. In the absence of this lease, we would not be able to generate revenue, and it would, I did inquire with the DFO what would happen if the township was not interested in renewing the lease. And they would be moving forward to broaden their search for a suitable lessee, which would also include the private sector, should the township choose to cancel or not renew the lease. So staff has notified the Department of Fisheries with an intent to renew, which has placed the agreement into hold status, and they would like the updated agreement fully executed and in place by the new year, January 2026. So I'm bringing this forward to you for consideration. And the cost of the lease is $500 per year plus taxes, and would be budgeted. I'm saying annually in this report. The invoice that I have currently in my hand actually came forward for 5 years worth. So going forward, I will clarify as to whether or not it's going to come through as one invoice or one every 5 years or once a year for 5 years. But moving forward, it would be $500 a year. Or 20% of the gross revenue that we bring in on the boat launches, and the $500 a year would be more. So if anybody has any questions.
Thank you very much. Manager Plevin. Yes, Councillor Moore.
As I was going through this, and over the years, there's been many discussions about improvements and repairs. But when you look at their agenda here, it looks like that we can do the repairs or renovations, and then they have to agree. Is that how that works?
That's accurate. So we will be having to apply for a permit, and in order to apply for a permit to do the work, they have to approve our design.
But they in no hand then will reimburse us for any repairs?
No, there are a few funds that possibly we could maybe qualify for, but no guarantees.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Bell.
So there's actually an email that came out about the Westmeath boat launch yesterday, just showing a picture of the current state of the boat launch, which is essentially unusable at this time. I know there's been a lot of discussion on improvements work at this site to, dredging and the like to improve the conditions so that it's actually usable throughout the year. There's no other potential location close to Westmeath where a boat launch could be situated outside of this location. Like, have we investigated other sites that this launch might exist?
So through you, Deputy Mayor, there was a previous report brought to council regarding the Westmeath boat launch, and the agreement from council's direction was to move forward with the dredging. So that's the design process that I've been going through. I believe I'd have to clarify with Manager Claroux, but I believe that there was another location looked into, and it wasn't what council decided.
Thank you. Councillor Tripp.
Yes, Madam Deputy Mayor, just to confirm, having lived in the area my whole adult life, I can confirm that while this isn't an ideal place for a boat launch, there is no place in the lower Alumet Lake area that would be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Tabbert?
I have quite a few questions, but I don't know if they can be answered tonight. It's through you, Deputy Mayor. Somewhere in here, now, I'm not talking the agreement because I did not read it, but it says that, oh yes, if we don't take the lease, we would have to remove any improvements. So what do they mean by removing any improvements?
So the improvements would be the dock and the extension into the water. Whatever was there before we took on the lease, they would have that information and we could confirm the details. But if we were the ones that installed all of the property that goes into the water, we would be removing it.
And then it says, so if we don't sign the lease later, if we decide in 5 years from now not to renew it, so we would have to do that. Any new things that we put in there, we would have to remove, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when was the last time the boat launch was able to be used?
You're speaking of Westmeath?
Yes.
I would probably say in the spring. I don't have the actual date. Be through the summer.
Councillor Tripp may have an answer to that.
Yes, this summer, we had high water for an unusually long time. And so the boat launch was used by some watercraft for a good portion of all of the spring and a good portion of the summer this year.
Thank you.
Okay, because I was getting information that if you have a pontoon boat or a large watercraft, you couldn't use the Westmeath boat launch, just local fishermen. So it can be used for large craft and everything then.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't say, I don't know what you mean by large craft necessarily.
Pontoon boats.
But for some of the early season, yes, they could. Wasn't ideal for docking. We don't have a long enough dock to moor to. And so for those reasons, they could get in. I know that it was reported to me by Mr. O'Brien, the owner of the winery, that people were coming to visit his establishment in pontoon boats.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions for council? Councillor Moore?
This has been going on for a number of years, and to our recollection from last council, the last time that was dredged was possibly the late 80s, and it hasn't been dredged since because of the costing. And it was also discussed at that time to move from the left of the dock to recreate the dock on the right, which is around the embankment, so that when the spring flood comes, it doesn't dump all the silt on the second side, but it still dumps on the first side, but we won't be using it anymore. Does that help? That was discussed at the time, but moving the dock to the right because the water comes down and drops its silt, plus it comes down from the main street and dumps its silt, which refrains from being able to launch boats because it has to be dredged then. So if we move the actual dock location to the right, away from that watershed, perhaps that would give us more years and we may not have to dredge at that point. So that's something I think we have to look into.
Thank you.
Do you want to provide some input on that, Manager? I mean, there is a capital budget item for 2025 in the amount of $100,000, so perhaps, I'm not sure to what degree we've initiated some work around that, but perhaps the scope could be.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. I didn't hear a question. So by all means, we do have a consultant that I'm consulting with. The options have not included that. That was one of the options laid out in the previous report that was done in, I believe, last year. So I can absolutely inquire with him and ask that option as well. In speaking with some of the local residents, that wasn't the ideal situation, but I, by all means, will ask that question.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Any other questions? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 9.3, the procedural delegation of authority bylaw and procurement policy amendments. I do have a recommendation that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region 1 approve the proposed amendments to the procurement policy. Item 2, approve the proposed amendments to the delegation of authority policy. And item number 3, approve the proposed amendments to the procedural bylaw as outlined in this report. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Bell and Councillor Tabbert. Thank you very much. And I'm going to...
So I'm just going to suggest that we push that to whenever we have all the members here. We pushed it from the last meeting to make sure that all 7 council members would be here to discuss. So I'm just going to propose that we do that again until everybody's here.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Bell. So we will postpone that, Clerk Miller?
Yeah, so I do have to postpone to a day so we can pick the November 5th and go from there. Do you? Sorry.
Yeah, certainly. I believe you will not be in attendance the November 5th meeting.
That's correct.
Correct? Yes. Just
I was
noting
in
that.
favor.
I didn't want to speak to that. I think just for clarity, before there's a decision on postponing to November 5th, which is fine, there were other edits that were made between October 1st and today. So just for the members of council present, around the virtual meetings, that was one of the discussions we had, virtual meetings and attendance virtually. So just if you haven't reviewed it since October 1st or before October 1st, go back and look at the policy again, procedural policy primarily, because there's been edits to it, correct, that are highlighted? Yes. So back to you, Deputy Mayor, around postpone. Make sense?
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, Councillor Trim?
I certainly understand the reason why we're postponing this discussion, but there's no guarantee that on that particular meeting, everybody will be in attendance then either. So I'm not certain about moving business around based on who can be here at the time. I don't know about that. Maybe somebody could give me some guidance there.
Yeah.
I do, so through Chair, I do believe that for the procedural bylaw, that there may be some concerns regarding that. So the thought of, especially the time of having meetings, since especially the times of meetings affect all of the members, it's probably best that all the members attend to have that discussion. I don't believe it. I don't think we are, staff is just reviewing these policies and this procedure bylaws. So, I mean, if we want to hold off, there's nothing, I can't think of the word, but nothing time sensitive that needs to be passed. So if council's okay with holding off, that's fine too. So 3.
And having said that, would it be worthwhile then to wait for Clerk Miller to be back at that time?
If I could, I don't mean to.
Yeah, no.
Let's schedule it, postpone it to November 5th, and if everybody's there, let's deliberate and move forward. Otherwise, I'm certainly, I could present the matters and discuss and respond. Otherwise, we could discuss it at the next meeting, which is November 5th. Make sense?
That does make sense.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're good with that? Okay, so having said that, I'll look for a move, we've got a mover and a seconder. Yeah, so all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, next, we have item number 10.1, notice of motion. Do we have any notice of motions at this time for any councillors? Okay, at that, I see none. And then I will move into correspondence. And at this time, what I would like to do, if everyone has had a chance or an opportunity to peruse this from items A to B, if anyone has any questions from A to B, I would be happy.
It's A to.
Oh, I'm sorry. A to F, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that's my bad. Yeah, from items A to F. If anyone has any questions, Councillor Tabbert.
Yes, 11E, yes, 11E, it was from the ministry regarding no support for broader curbside collection. What are we doing so that we don't get caught on January 1st without having collection for some of our businesses and organizations? Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll turn this over to, thank you, to Superintendent. Thank you.
For sure. So I can let everybody know that staff actually held a meeting today with all of my counterparts across Renfrew County that operate curbside and depot recycling programs. Just to understand, we started this process back in April with the intention of trying to undertake a group procurement for curbside collection for blue box from ICI, industrial, commercial, institutional businesses. The Minister of Environment stepped in and told Circular Materials Ontario that they wanted them to continue to provide curbside collection for ICI. And for 4 months, they stalled us out to send a letter last week saying that, oh, too bad, so sad, we're actually not going to do it. So we're picking up from where we left off, and so the plan is there's a number of municipalities that have let us know that they're interested in partnering, and staff are hitting the ground running on getting quotations from the current contractor who's delivering recycling collection to see if we can get something in place for January 1st. The preliminary sort of word that we got specifically from Miller, who is our current contractor, is that they intend to provide curbside collection service for ICI, but they want us to work with our neighbors. So they'll be able to provide the service to us, but they want us to work with our neighbors to optimize it, pick a day, make sure we have enough truck space, basically get us all onto, so there would basically be a separate collection route for curbside collection for blue box from ICI businesses. And the intention would be to try and get all of our municipalities in the area who want to do it, that it does it in one program, 1 or 2 days, one truck, to try and make it financially viable for everybody to want to do. So that's where we're at.
Thank you very much. That's a good question. Yes, Councillor Tabbert.
Are we keeping our ICI people informed of what's happening so that they're not panicking or anything?
To be fair, this letter just came to us within the last 2 weeks. So we thought, we were under the impression the Minister of Environment had indicated that all was going to be good, and it sounded like the program that had been proposed was going to work for us, mostly. So they've set us back time-wise, but again, from what Miller has said, it sounds like we should hopefully be able to get something together under sort of a sole source sort of program. I don't know if that.
Yeah, if I can just add, so the one, yeah, this is a big deal for staff that we didn't, it's a total change in direction. Dan mentioned that we did meet today with our counterparts. The next steps would be getting pricing, and ultimately coming to council to make a decision on if we're going to continue a curbside collection for these property owners, and also with our depot and our landfill.
Thank you. Councillor Moore?
This could be coming at a good time because the budget deliberation is coming up, but do we know that the money we have set aside for the extended 3 months will cover us into January, or will be at a whole new, I guess, GL account for this special pickup come next year?
Yes, staff are, as it would be in the next fiscal year. My understanding is the funds that the little bit of money that we got for operating the depot is operating the depot this year. So this would be a separate new service for, I don't know how to say, it would be just a specific thing for just those ICI properties, separate.
Councillor Tabbert?
This is the place for it, but because we're going on now. So right now, everybody pays at the start of the year a certain amount of money. I don't know, 150 or whatever it is. So come January 1st, is there a way of separating all this, or are we just going to keep going the way we're going? I'm not sure how we're doing this financially.
Sure, we'll let the treasurer take it.
So yeah, so right now, all residential properties and commercial properties all pay the same $168 charge. That charge has not actually changed in the last 3 years. So now what has happened is when we bring forward the budget, and we'll talk about this on the 21st, is that amount is split out. It pays for tipping fees, it pays for the actual contract for the actual millers to come pick up the garbage, and it also pays for any type of capital infrastructure, like reserve transfer pieces. Those are like the three main topics that the 168 pays for. Because originally, the recycling piece was also funded by funding from the government for the recycling side of that contract. So now, since the recycling funding is gone because we no longer pick up recycling, the 168 will stay. The piece that will be different for 2026, and this will be a deliberation the council will have to have, as to whether we create a whole new charge for ICI people, like businesses, and have that as an additional charge onto their tax bills. We can break out what the individual charges are. Right now, if anybody knows their tax bill, it's curb 1. They'll see then that's the curbside charge. So any commercial business would now have curb 2, say, and that would be, say, $200 or $300, whatever it works out to be. And the idea would be is that any of the increased cost that the township has to incur to still provide this recycling would be exact in and out of revenue. So it'd be net neutral. We would just take the full cost of it divided by the number of properties that fall under that category, and that would be the user fee that they would have to pay in order to have that collection. And we would edit that number every single year as properties coming in or come out. So as a property goes from commercial now to potentially residential, which can happen on Main Street in Cobden, where the business closes up and decides to become an apartment or said building, they would then switch back and come out of that category. But that would be the way that we set it up at this point in time. And correct me if I'm said anything wrong, Deanna, just as that kind of is the plan going forward, but it's up to council as to whether they want to just include it into the levy as is, or create a new separate charge. But that's a delegation for a different time.
Thank you. And one final question,
On this one, yes. So will businesses or the ICIs have the option of opting out if they prefer not to have this extra charge, or no?
initial discussions would be that it would be applied to everybody. That's something that could be discussed, and the only way I think it would we need to make sure that every business has a recycling program set up, because if you don't have one set up and you don't use it, recycling will end up in the trash, which we don't want. So, I mean, there can be discussions around allowing people to opt out if they can prove that they are paying a separate contractor to tip their recycle bins that they have at their business. So I think establishing that every property that has a building has recycling collection service is the priority to make sure that that waste doesn't end up in the landfill. Are you following that? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other item? Councillor Tabbert? Okay, thank you. As long as it's a different item,
Yes.
because we are past.
Yes.
Thank you.
11F, the county council summary. I have questions on that, but with the mayor not here. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. Nobody would have.
So I think what I would maybe suggest, Councillor Tabbert, is when Mayor Nicholson returns, maybe perhaps you could reach out to him and answer any questions, if that would work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore.
Just one comment on item C, EORN. Just to let our people out there in TV land know that we are down to one tower to be erected. 6 have been erected and are online, and there's only one to go, and that is going to happen next year at some point. It's really unfortunate it didn't happen this year, and it's the one on the Kerr line. But anyway, according to the paperwork, they're saying it won't be up and running till 26. So we got 6 out of 7, so we're doing good so far.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Anything else? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Thank you, and that is carried. And we are now into item number 12, announcements. If I can start with Councillor Bell, please.
No announcements from me.
Thank you. Councillor Tabbert, here we go. Thank you.
No, the only one I have is the Taste of the Valley, which is on Saturdays. Everybody should be aware of by now. And yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Trim.
None at the moment, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Moore.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I think that is good. So next we'll move into item number 13, our bylaws. And we've got October 15, 2025, the recommendation. Be it resolved that the bylaws be listed on October 15, 2025 agenda, be taken as read and passed. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Moore and Councillor Bell. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And with that, we will move into closed session. I'm going to ask Clerk Miller to read this for me, please. Thank you.
The Council of the Township Whitewater Region move into closed session at 7:05 p.m. as per Section 9 of the Procedural Bylaw to discuss the proposed pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, the Pembroke and Area Airport Commission, with staff remaining in the room. Move in and seconder.
Councillor Moore and Councillor Tabbert. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you.